Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of GIANT's Healthy Innovators TV. I'm your host. My name is Barry Shrier, and I'm the founder of GIANT Health. Every week, we like to bring to all of our viewers from around the world some of the most interesting and successful and accomplished leaders who are working in healthcare innovation. And they're all sharing our vision, which is to improve the health and the well-being of people around the world by accelerating the adoption of innovation and new technologies in healthcare to enable clinicians and healthcare workers to achieve better healthcare outcomes at lower cost. So again, my name is Barry Shrier. I'm from GIANT Health. Thank you to all of our viewers from around the world. We love putting these presentations together, and we're very proud of the interesting and accomplished people that we bring to you. First of all, I'd like to say that on behalf of GIANT Health, thank you to our sponsors. We'd like to thank Vodafone Business and our knowledge partner, McKinsey. We love working with our sponsors. We'd also like to thank Nick and NRK Communications, who's been a valuable sponsor of GIANT, and we love working with you. So Nick, thank you very much, and we're grateful for your sponsorship. We'd also like to invite all of our listeners from around the world to go to the GIANT website, www.giant.health, and check out our big annual event, which is coming up in December in the UK this year. So if you work in healthcare, tech, and innovation, we'd love to meet you. We'd love to invite you to come to our event. So please check out the website. Also, lastly, if you like these episodes, please remember to like them on YouTube. Please remember to subscribe. Our ambition is to provide valuable, interesting content to everybody. So we can help you if you help us by liking and subscribing the YouTube channel. We would really appreciate that. So today we have Nick from NRK Communications and Adam from Lavaa Health. Hello, Nick. How are you today?
Very well, Barry. Thank you. Thank you very much for having us on.
Excellent. No, I'm glad to be in contact with you, obviously, and we appreciate your time. And likewise, Adam, nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
So, Nick, if you don't mind, let's begin, please. People love to hear about, the origin stories, so to speak. Tell us a little bit about your background in terms of healthcare and how you got involved in what you're doing currently.
Well, absolutely. I run a specialized healthcare communications consultancy, which focuses primarily on working with healthcare technology clients and organizations that are looking to do quite new and interesting things in the world of digital health. Like a lot of people who work in the communications field, I began my career as a journalist, firstly as a healthcare specialist, writing for print in magazines and newspapers. I worked predominantly from about 2013 onwards for a trade publication called Health Service Journal,
Nice.
which, as its name suggests, covers health policy developments primarily within the NHS. One of the key areas that I covered during that time was technology. So in an NHS context, that was a lot to do with use of patient data, patient record systems, and different approaches to meeting a lot of those policy challenges that were very current then, and as we've seen reading the newspapers and turning on the news every day, are very current now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Indeed. And after doing that for a few years, I then took a little bit of a sideways approach, moving into covering the life sciences industry.
Oh, okay.
So that was primarily for a business audience, mainly pharmaceutical mergers and biotech. And since 2017, so about 6 years ago, I set up on my own, and I've had the pleasure of working with a range of companies, both British and international,
Nice.
who want to kind of tell their story better to an audience, NHS-facing audience or a private healthcare audience, broadly but not exclusively focused in the UK.
Yes. Excellent. Oh,
So that's right. I find myself today.
No, super. And it's been obviously an impressive, if you will, journey for you. So congratulations on what you've accomplished with NRK Communications. Could you help us to understand what are examples of some big challenges in society or big challenges in healthcare?
Well, absolutely. I mean, one of the overriding trends we've seen over the past 10 years, maybe even longer, is healthcare systems, not only in the UK, but also internationally, striving to create systems which are much better at providing integrated care,
Right.
care that wraps around the individual, regardless of their needs and circumstances. So those with very acute needs and comorbidities may require more detailed wraparound care.
Right.
And because ultimately healthcare is a people business, there is always going to be a finite amount of capacity for the demand brought about
Sure.
by people's circumstances, their lifestyles, and as I'm sure we've discussed many times in the past, there are a range of different determinants to that: social, financial, and a range of other issues. What we're finding now is that healthcare systems are looking to find a way to bring care down to the individual locally as much as possible, partly because of the improvement in outcomes that can bring to the individual, but also it allows economic benefits in that it allows healthcare systems to take care that doesn't need to be in an acute setting away from hospitals and away from urgent care. And I'm sure we'll come on to one of the innovative ways that is being done by talking with Adam.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, no, very keen to develop that conversation. And these are such important issues for society, and these changes which have occurred over the past few decades are quite profound. Often we're in conversation with people who talk about the origin of hospitals, which of course were absolutely to address acute issues. And so you have hospitals invented between 50 and 100 years ago, depending on your perspective and the definition of a hospital. And they were looking at the dealing of acute issues, but that's not necessarily the biggest challenge for society right now in terms of the health and well-being of an entire society. So big challenges for hospitals in that. And looking forward to exploring that further, Nick. Thank you. So Adam, again, it's great to see you, and thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. We'd love to hear a little bit about you, please, and where you're based, and a little bit about your background and what you're doing currently as well.
Thank you, Barry. So first, Lavaa Health is based in Israel. We're based in Ra'anana. A little bit about my background. I started my way as an officer in the intelligence unit in Israel, in the IDF, in the cyber division.
Wow. Does that mean you know more about me than I do?
If I want. Right after getting out of the army, created a company that does high-frequency algorithmic trading in the Chicago Market Exchange. The company is still active with the infrastructure. Amazing time. 4.5 years later, created a company that does AI for critical infrastructure, backed by Berkshire Hathaway, General Electric, Japanese Mitsui. Mainly focuses on AI in data centers, utility grids, and mobile networks.
Okay.
The amount of clients is huge all across the board, all the way from Asia, Europe, and the US.
Nice.
Then in 2021, Lavaa was born.
Oh, okay.
And the main origin, or the main reason why Lavaa was born, is that back in 2014, we very sadly lost my mother-in-law to ovarian cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And during the course of her care, the physician treating her all told us that it could have been better if we caught it earlier, and she could also have been saved. And this was awful for us, and also not coming from the field, it was very feeling useless, or I cannot do anything.
Yes.
Especially when my mother-in-law family is coming from the pharmaceutical world, so they know they're connected and everything, and we couldn't do anything. Couple of years later, moving forward, I thought to myself, after the AI company is well-based and everything, I thought to myself that it would be unreasonable for me not to at least go back to those doctors and ask them, okay, what changed? I have wife, I have daughters now. I want to know like what have changed. All the doctors, everybody said the same thing, that not much has changed, but not from the reason that they don't want to change it, but it just didn't.
Right.
So my feeling was that I have to use my skills, my expertise, trying to understand what can I help, what can I do, and actually I started working on that and figuring out what can I do. Going back to those doctors, asking them, look, if I do this and that, would that help? And that's how Lavaa became.
Wow. Oh, superb. I mean, again, I'm very sorry for your loss, but I also recognize that this is not unusual, where you have successful, very capable founders that, born out of a personal experience, have attractive, important ambition to make a contribution, and therefore, you have that motivation, which is obviously extremely valuable and attractive and good for society. Tell us about Lavaa.
So in Lavaa, we had to think or rethink some of the fundamentals of how things are currently work, detect where the biggest gaps. And one of the things that we understood that we need to empower the physicians, we need to empower the clinicians, we need to empower everyone that we can, because they're the heroes in the end of the day, but they need tools. And we thought about, and even taking my expertise back in the days of like in cyber or any other data normalized organization, we had to create tools in order to start working.
Yes.
So the first thing that we did in Lavaa was to build the building blocks and templates for the personalized programs that the clinician can build on top, which means that they can actually start from somewhere. Some of those building blocks called engines, and build on certified protocols and leading the clinicians and researchers. It means that those engines can run on data. They're built on the certified protocols, which means that the clinicians knows them. So if they see them, they understand what it means.
Okay.
It's not some AI voodoo. It's like things that they know and learned. And in the Lavaa engines, we connect to multiple data sources in order to have a wider view and empower the clinicians team with a better information together with the latest medical knowledge. And the output of the program, the platform, is to adopt the need of medical teams for easy and fast implementation. As the medical teams are already in high capacity, they need to have something that is quick and valuable.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's very, very interesting, and obviously, congratulations on what you've accomplished there. And we're very keen to learn more about it during this conversation. Thanks for the introduction. So, Nick, if you can help us to understand, how did you come upon Adam, and what's the relationship with you guys?
Well, we first got in touch, I think, through a mutual contact. We had a number of different conversations around what Lavaa were looking to achieve.
Yes.
And effectively, the proposition here is one that could feasibly be deployed across healthcare systems in many different developed countries.
Right.
That mixture of a solution that interfaces with patient data, uses a combination of AI and certified clinical protocols
Mm-hmm.
to then act as I guess the phrase we'd use today is clinical decision support.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's the way we put it. And it's one of those concepts which, depending on the different markets that you're communicating with, you'll aim to try and tell your story a slightly different way. In the UK, we use slightly different medical terminology. The lexicon is slightly different for particular historical reasons.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So from my point of view, it was working very much closely with the team at Lavaa, Adam, and his colleague Nia, to help bring that story to a range of different audiences,
Mm-hmm.
in the UK and Europe, but also in the United States, which has a very different healthcare systems that work in slightly different ways
Exactly.
and different needs
Exactly.
depending on
Yes.
different
No
demographics.
matter how international every business working in healthcare wants to be, healthcare is still very national, isn't it? And that's obviously an extremely important realization, but also a big challenge, unless you're a 100-year-old established global corporate with 100 offices around the world. So a big challenge there. Adam, I'd love to ask you to expand on your business from the perspective of the business itself and your business expansion or your business development goals, and how those relate to your work with Nick, for example.
Perfect. And I would also like to touch something that you touched before about the different markets or the different approaches. So
Yes.
this is actually, we see it as an advantage, because if you think about a market is kind of more personalized health, because when you change the terminology, when you change the different way of care, it also refer very much to the people you're helping. So the way it's being conducted in the US, in the UK, in Israel, in Asia, anywhere, it's a little bit different. And it's also good because it has something to do with the mentality of people that are actually in this nationality.
Right.
So it is a part of our goal to do a patient-centric kind of system where the patient is in the middle, and you see all of the different companies and all of the organizations are looking from different prism on the same patient and trying
Yes.
to help them to have their best healthy life. As for the current work that we're doing, we already developed over 45 different engines for 45 different diseases, starting from prevention engines to women's health, which is obviously very important, to rare diseases, to risk assessment. And one of the most important things that we did also is working with Nick of articulating the messages. In the end of the day, it doesn't worth much if you can't use it, if people don't understand what you're doing. So
Sure.
working with Nick helped us articulate a lot of those messages, help us to convey those messages to the physicians, to the pharmaceutical companies, to the patients themselves, to everybody involved. So this was a very helpful journey, and it's not yet over. So we have a
No.
lot in front of us. As well, also, I think that it's worth mentioning about the engines that are based on AI and machine learning. Over there, the messaging is much harder, because healthcare is first and foremost is trust. You need to trust the healthcare system that is in front of you. Most of the people today, although ChatGPT would say differently, but most of the people today are still a little bit afraid of the AI, of the liability, and you try to do it as clear and transparent as possible. And those
Yes.
messages are hard. And we need to make sure that the process that was done or being done need to also being transparent to the people who uses that. So this is also a huge thanks to Nick.
Nice. Excellent. So, Nick, this is such an important theme, and it's one which I think is often skirted around because of the complexity here. So the point that Adam made about the foundation of healthcare necessarily being based upon the theme of trust, and then that in how do you say it, in conflict with or in juxtaposition to the theme of AI and machine learning, and the jokes that comedians always make on television. Computer says no, meaning there's some black box over there that nobody understands, but it's in charge. And these kind of aspects of society's views of technology. And so tell us about your discussions and your work with Adam in that area, because this is so very important for the future of healthcare. It's quite profound, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. Fundamentally, there is a common starting point here, regardless of where in the world you're thinking about when you're talking about healthcare, which is that for millions of people, chronic conditions are potentially very life-changing, and they cost healthcare systems large amounts of money, which, if thought about in a slightly different lateral way, finding a very practical use for this emerging technology, or I'm not even quite sure you can call it emerging anymore. It's been sort of being used one way or another, under the hood, in a range of different key sectors.
Yes.
But using that as a tool, almost like an early warning system, both for the patients or the members of the public themselves, but also for clinicians, means that by spotting key markers in a patient's record or case history, you can say, well, maybe this person is at risk of becoming pre-diabetic. Maybe this person is showing signs of quite serious clinical depression. And as with many different disease areas, if you can intervene in a way that has the patient's trust at a very early stage,
Yes.
it gives you a much greater opportunity to reduce the chance that that person will be admitted into an acute care setting, where previously there may have been various kind of warning signs about their condition that, because of structural, institutional reasons, societal reasons, might have been missed. And so I think where the functionality of machine learning and AI comes in is that it enables, it supports the clinicians, but at the same time, everyone involved in this field, particularly with its application in healthcare, they know that this isn't a silver bullet, so to speak.
Right.
You need to make people understand what it is capable of doing, bring the evidence, and and take everybody with you. When we talk about AI, what we're really talking about is a set of a range of different functionalities and technologies.
Yes.
Is the way that I like to think about it.
Yes.
And some organizations, companies, and even parts of the public sector in different countries are harnessing different capabilities to achieve policy goals, better outcomes. And I think we're really just at the beginning of what it can be capable of doing.
Absolutely.
Of course, there are risks, but people who are able to, and someone like Adam, who had a great deal of experience in this field before starting Lavaa, is, I'm sure we could speak for another hour on the the practicalities, the ethics.
Well, absolutely. Yeah.
How it all works, but that seems to me to be the key starting point.
That's helpful, Nick. Thank you for sharing that. And that positioning, so to speak, of the technology, arguably in non-technological terminology, is, I think, extremely important. Going back to the requirement for establishing and maintaining a foundation of trust, like Adam said. Adam, if you don't mind, I don't want to get too technical. Our audience mainly are not engineers. However, could you please help us to understand the role of AI in your platform, and what's the angle, so to speak? What could your platform do if AI wasn't there at all, and or how is AI in enhancing or empowering the platform and the services that you guys are developing?
Definitely, and I think that I'll start with something that Nick touched before, that there are some issues, or there are some scares about AI in healthcare. But just like I think it was Ford that he said that if it wasn't the cars, we had just faster horses. So we do need to have something new. Yes, it will be scary in the beginning. Yes, it will not be perfect, but we have to make sure that it will be better than what we used to have.
Yes.
And one of the things that my colleagues, and I think that the great companies that does AI in healthcare does, is they're jumping faster than what we can actually get right now. So they're creating a lot of solutions that will be amazing in 10, 20 years times. But I think that one of the main things that we do in Lavaa is that we're trying to make it as easy as possible to also help the current people who are in healthcare to digest the transition. So the first thing, and this is the most important thing that we do, we are allowing the physicians or the clinical team to see and understand what is behind the scenes to convey the messages.
Okay.
And we use AI now for multiple reasons. One of the biggest goals that we're using it for is to actually identify multiple diseases at the same time. So it means that we might have a person that goes to the doctor, and the doctor is looking at the symptoms and looking only for one disease, but it might be hiding multiple diseases over there behind the scenes.
Okay.
And we're actually scanning on the same data that the doctor currently have for multiple diseases that the doctor might have not looked at or might not have thought about. And we're trying to alert the doctor, look, there is another risk over here.
Yes.
As well, we are using it to create a better filter system that we will have all of those records being scanned in the background. So you don't have to go to the doctor for your session, explain the reasoning, and only then trying to focus to the direct or to the certain disease, but it also scans actively behind the scenes. And it helps a lot by detecting also rare diseases where doctors today do not pay attention to that. So it's something that they might see a patient once in their lifetime. So actually, we're using it for multiple purposes.
Wow.
But the main idea is to allow the patient to be in the center and not overwork the doctor or the nurse or everybody by going through this huge amount of data coming in from multiple channels. So
Yes.
we're trying to, just like we did in the intelligence unit today, unlike before 2003, 2, the amount of data per person was increased massively, exponentially. But to handle that, it takes a lot of power, a lot of compute power.
Yes.
It has to be done correctly, and mainly it has to be done with care, with trust. So in Lavaa, we create those engines. We make sure that the doctors and the physicians and the researchers and the organizations are approving them before they go live. Once they go live, they constantly explain and allow the doctors and the nurses and the team to do both the triaging but also the care after that in a right manner. It's important also to understand that we are doing only preventive care, things that could be prevented.
Okay.
We do not want to scare the people, but sometimes doctors or people are scared to know the truth about their health, and it's scary. But to ignore it, it's also a problem. So we're trying to convey to the physicians, and it's their job to make sure that it works correctly and not all the way to the client that might think that they might die tomorrow. Like if you look on Google what is going on with those parameters, and you're probably going to have 3 days to live or something like that.
No, I understand. It is obviously potentially extremely scary. Does that overlap with your work, Nick, in terms of the challenge of communicating or enabling clinicians to communicate to patients, the potentially quite scary, as Adam has just mentioned, aspects of this?
Oh, I think so. I mean, a great deal of the work that I do is, necessarily UK focused.
Sure.
And obviously, prevention is a huge issue. It's a societal issue, and increasingly, it's becoming a larger part of the public conversation. It's being talked about in the media, and
Yes.
given that we are, within touching distance of another general election here, prevention is something that is being talked about by politicians also.
Exactly.
I think if we look specifically at the NHS in England, it has a range of different problems right now, some of which can't be solved particularly quickly. It will take quite thoughtful reforms resource and time to, we have staff shortages in a range of key specialties.
Yeah.
But obviously a part of that is the prevention agenda, and the way in which technology can be used, in a strategic way by both patients and by doctors, particularly within primary care.
Mm-hmm.
I think is a really key part of this conversation.
Yes.
And anything which allows or reduces the amount of missed opportunities to help prevent more serious acute and chronic conditions is very timely and very important. The key thing is, not only in the UK but across the developed world, we are living longer, but the longer lives are becoming unhealthier lives.
Yes.
And different there are different approaches to how you look at this. There are very particular biotech companies who are looking at, well, what does this mean in genes and in particular different molecules, and how aging takes hold, and can we try and almost play God and sort of lessen the impact over time.
Yeah.
Whereas other more practical solutions that are in the here and now are a key part of that conversation. And
yes.
I think
It's a very good point.
There are pockets of very good and innovative practice across different parts of the country and different parts of the world on this. And
I think you're right. I think the
people who can benefit the most are the ones that are finding those examples of best practice.
Well, exactly. And that leads to that big question, which is, how do we live better as opposed to merely living longer? And do you want the final third of your life just to be, very, very unwell, but still alive, or that type of challenge which society is facing? Adam, if you don't mind, we'd love to hear a little bit about your future plans. You've had an extremely interesting and impressive career across a number of different industries. And it's very impressive and admirable to be able to take your intelligence and capability and apply it in different industries, like obviously trading, as you've mentioned, and healthcare. What do you have in mind in terms of the future for Lavaa?
So currently, our customers in Lavaa are mainly in the US. We do have clients in Europe and obviously in Israel. We constantly working on expanding that on the client base because we want to help more people. Next, we would like to collaborate with the key players that can reduce unnecessary illnesses, help in rare diseases and in women's health, because we believe that no single company can do it by its own. We have to join forces. We have to make sure that we are working together. We saw it in the COVID. Only working together helps to solve something. And this is a big challenge. And I think that we see it that even now we have multiple different collaborators and multiple companies working together with us. So expand that as much as possible. And in the long run, we aspire to become the global provider of clinical data engine layer, which means that we want to make sure that what we develop here and what we will develop with other companies and researchers around the globe will be accessible to anyone, not just to a certain country or company or layer of the company. We believe that in the next 5-10 years, maybe even 15 years, we believe that the digital health data will become personalized, which means that people will have their own data and control their own data. Hopefully will also control their own lives as well. But we would like to be the clinical data engines layer that sits on top of it, maybe even on your phone or connected on the cloud, but it will help everyone, if it's in Africa, China, anywhere, to make sure that those people will have healthier, longer life and not just longer life.
Yes, yeah, excellent. And very admirable, enormous ambition, which is important and needed in healthcare. So good to hear about that. Well, look, you guys, I wish we had another hour to continue this conversation, and I wish it was warm and sunny. We could go to the pub and have a beer in a garden and continue. Extremely interesting conversation, but we don't have too much time left in this episode. So I'd like to invite you, please, Nick, to offer any closing comments or summary, and then likewise, Adam. And in addition, we would really be interested in inviting both of you to come back and maybe join us, perhaps 6 months from now or something like that. We'd love to hear an update on progress. And of course, I'm sure our listeners would be extremely interested in learning more and engaging further with you guys. But for today, Nick, if you want to summarize, or if there's any additional points you'd like to make, please.
Absolutely. Well, I think regardless of where you're kind of looking at opening shop, so to speak, working with healthcare systems across the world, there are challenges that are common to all of them, and there are challenges that are very unique. And I think those who are best able to navigate those different elements are the ones that are best set up to be able to spread the innovation that they want to bring in a helpful, responsible, and hopefully mutually supportive way.
Yes.
And as part of the discussion we've just had, looking at areas like AI and new applications of both existing and new technologies means that it's both a very exciting time to be working in digital health and in healthcare technology more broadly. But it's also one that needs to be kind of navigated in a smart way, I guess our American cousins would call it.
Indeed.
And that's what is I'm really passionate about, and is certainly something that I look forward to doing more of in future.
Brilliant. Excellent. Yeah, thank you, Nick. And likewise, Adam, if there's anything else you want to add regarding Lavaa and your role in healthcare, and also if you have any asks, so to speak. GIANT Health is a global community. We're nearly 312,000 people now. Our strapline is that we serve everybody whose business is health and tech and innovation. So I don't know if you're looking to raise money or looking to recruit people or looking for partners, but we're always ambitious to connect the dots, so to speak, between important leaders like you in tech innovation and our broader community.
So thank you. And I think the first most important topic that I would like to raise just in a second, not that it doesn't deserve more, but I think that women's health has to become higher in the priority for everybody. I think that everywhere that we go, we see that currently it's being a little bit, or not a little bit, but it's being neglected. And I would like to promote it as much as possible. So Lavaa is supporting women's health. And if anyone in GIANT or outside of GIANT community would like to promote it together with us, we are more than happy.
Nice.
The second thing is that in Lavaa, we have something called the Lab X, where we actually collaborate with other companies, but also with individuals that has ideas. So we always like to get ideas, and we have some innovative models that we can work together in order to create better health. And yes, we are going on a next funding round now to increase the company to multiple markets.
Oh, wow.
We would like to go to the UK as well, to make sure that the people in the UK are having the best health that we can provide,
Of course.
and to help the physicians. So if anyone in the community would like to talk or even have an idea, the team and me are always open to hear and talk, and we believe in the trying to solve it as a community and not by individuals. So
nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. Absolute pleasure. This has been an extremely interesting conversation. So, Nick, always enjoy conversations with you, of course, and we're very grateful for you introducing us to Adam. And Adam, we appreciate you making the time available. Your time is quite valuable, and we're grateful for you allocating some time to share your impressive and important story and journey with us. I'm also really attracted to your general entrepreneurial approach which seems to echo that famous Silicon Valley. The answer is yes. What's the question? And so really, really attractive. And thank you so much. We wish you the very best of luck, of course. Very keen to keep in touch with you. And likewise, Nick. So maybe what we could do is we could agree to have another catch up 6 months from now or something like that. And love to hear more about what you're doing. In the meantime, Adam, I'm just going to go get my wallet to make an investment in your business. I think I have a spare 20 pounds, so we'll see what equity is available.
We will take everything that we can use in order to help people. So
pardon me for being cheeky, but joking aside, good luck, of course, with your fundraising. And I'm not presuming, but we'd love to help with introductions to investors and so forth if we can be helpful in that respect. So look, Nick and Adam, thank you once again. This has been this week's episode of GIANT's Healthy Innovators TV. I've been extremely grateful and proud to bring to all of our viewers and listeners from around the world, Adam from Lavaa Health and Nick from NRK Communications. Nick, we appreciate the sponsorship that NRK provides to GIANT Health, and we're delighted with that and love working with you as a valued sponsor. So thank you for that. Again, love to thank the rest of our sponsors, Vodafone Business, McKinsey, our knowledge partner, and the rest of the sponsors and exhibitors that we work with throughout the year. We invite all of our visitors and listeners to go to the GIANT website, www.giant.health, and hope to meet all of you if you're able to come to the GIANT Health event, which is in December in London, England. So until then, thank you, Nick. Thanks, Adam, and wishing you all the very best.
Thank you very much, Barry.
Thank you.